What an absolute, what an absolute pleasure to be joined once again by a true legend in Mr. Gary Player. And Gary, thank you very much for giving us this opportunity. Wow, it's unbelievable. I mean, it was only a couple of weeks ago that I spoke to you that you were back here in South Africa, back in the USA, of course, and loads of excitement ahead of the Masters, which of course starts on the 10th of this month. A lot of excitement in the air. And I mean, I was just wondering how many Masters have you actually attended as opposed to having played in? We'll get on to that.
Well, first of all, it's nice to talk to you again, John. And
Yes.
secondly, this will be my 67th visit to Augusta. It's quite
Wow.
remarkable. It makes you realize you come to the conclusion that you are getting old. But it's been a wonderful, it's been an epic journey there. And it's been an integral part of my life to win it three times and be second three times, the top 10, 14 times, the most number of cuts until Tiger Woods beat my record last year. And I've played in it 52 times. But it's quite an experience going there. It's the best run tournament in the world. The British Open is the most important in my eyes. But and my whole family's coming this year. So I'm very, very excited to see them.
Gary, thank you very much. It just said the Masters three times. And what does make Augusta National such a special place?
Well, first of all, it's inundated with history. You had Bobby Jones, who was an integral part of the tournament, and then that's where I first met President Eisenhower, who was one of my heroes because, he fought for freedom. He and Winston Churchill, made this great effort to fight for freedom, which is the most cherished thing you can have in your life. I've traveled more miles than any human being that's ever lived. And when I see communism and socialism compared to the free enterprise system and freedom, there's no comparison. And so Eisenhower was part of the Masters. He was a member. He played there. And then to spend all my life playing with Arnold Palmer and Jack Nicklaus, two people that were great ambassadors for the world, not necessarily just for golf. And we we won the tournament year after year between us. And so they are wonderful memories, and memories are the cushions of life. So I go back there with wonderful memories, and particularly to have my whole family, well, not my whole family, but a lot of my family to be there with me this year.
I just love the way you use the word cherish. I think that's something that we should use more often when we talk. I love to hear that word. It's something that we only hear nowadays at weddings largely. How do you think Augusta has evolved over the years, and do you like the changes?
Yes, I don't like many of their rules that they have, however, but for example, this is my 67th visit there, and I flew to China for them to promote a junior tournament in China, which is a long way. And I asked them for one favor in return, and that was to have three of my grandsons play one round of golf in my life with them, and they turned it down. So they have some very unusual rules, but when in Rome, do as the Romans do, and you accept the rules, but I don't particularly like them.
What are your most cherished memories from your Masters victories, Gary?
Well, battling it out with Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer year after
Yeah.
year. And on the first year I went there, I couldn't reach the par fives. So I went back home and I hired Mr. Universe, who trained me. And I put on so much muscle and weight. I went back there the next year and my scores were lower than Jack Nicklaus on the par five. So that was very rewarding, because you and I know there's no substitute for hard work. I'm not a believer in giveaway systems. I was poor. I'm grateful I was poor. I struggled. I lay in bed year after year wishing I was dead because my mother was gone. My brother was at war. My sister was at boarding school. And my father was working 8,000 feet underground in a mine, making £100 a month to just keep us going. And thank goodness he sent me to King Edward VII School, which stood me in good stead.
Absolutely. And you've certainly shown your true guts, your mettle, your determination. That's for sure, Gary. I want to get back to your incredible fitness and preparation, something that I've always admired. How do you think that gave you an edge at Augusta?
Well, first of all, John, I'm nearly 90 now, and I
Yep.
was in the gym yesterday, and I was pushing 300 pounds with my legs. I'm running on the treadmill. I do my sit-ups, and I exercise like a fiend still. But
Yes.
I think that, at my stage of life, it's very important to read, to keep the mind sharp, to keep abreast with world affairs. I also take an ice cold bath every morning if it's available. I sleep 9 hours. I laugh a lot. And
Yes.
that's important because laughter, the old saying, laughter is the best medicine. There's a lot of merit in that. So I went to India and met a gerontologist, and he gave me 11 things to work on to reach 100, which I'd like to do because I love people, I love work, and I'm very proud to have represented South Africa as an ambassador for 73 years. I don't think anybody's ever come close to that, and it's
That's
been
for
such
sure.
a privilege because South Africa is well, we've got a lot of problems at the moment, but it's been a very special country.
Unbelievable. And when you look at your fitness and your all-round fitness and determination, I think it's such a great message because I've often said to a lot of people who I've tried to inspire sometimes, and really you can sum it up, keep moving in 2 words, really, keep moving. That's really the importance.
John, it is easier to get a camel through the eye of a needle than to get people to worry about their body. Most people are overweight. 80% of people are overweight. And the quickest way to lose your health is to be overweight, carrying that
Yep.
extra weight, the strain on your heart and the rest of your body. And so the most important thing to live a long time is undereat. And if you can do that, you're on your way. But, nothing is for nothing. You've got to earn everything, and it's hard work. But anyway, of course, doing that, it stood me in good stead at Augusta, because Augusta is a very difficult golf course to walk. It's uphill and downhill. And that's why
Mm,
poor Tiger Woods, he can't play it now because it's just too strenuous on his legs. But what people
yes.
don't understand, that Tiger Woods tried to join the Navy SEALs. Now, Navy SEALs, they almost put you on the verge of dying, and then they pull you out and they save you with drowning and climbing trees and jumping off roofs. And at Tiger Woods, to his detriment, unfortunately, it hurt his knees and his back. And had that not happened, he would have had a better record than Jack Nicklaus. But in the meantime, Jack Nicklaus's record is better than Tiger Woods's on paper. So it was a pity because Tiger Woods was the most talented golfer that ever lived and ruined it by his preparations in life, which can happen. Which can happen. After he won the US Open by 15 shots, he went for lessons from people that couldn't break 85 or 80 at the Masters and put him back and hurt his career, and he never won a major for 11 years. But he went there because he wanted to get better. It's very easy to make that mistake. I'm a big Tiger Woods fan, and because he really did so much for people of color around the world. And of course, golf was always a whitey sport. No more is it a whitey sport at all. So he played a vital role in golf.
And nice to see that he's found a lovely lady like you found.
Yes, he's now going out with, is it Donald Trump's son's
Yeah.
wife? I mean,
Junior, yeah, yeah.
yes, he's now going out with her. So yes, I've been very lucky to find a girlfriend. It should be very encouraging to a lot of people, John, because
Yes.
I was with my wife for 73 years, the most wonderful woman you could ever have in your life. And but then I had 4 years out in the desert, so to speak, and found this girlfriend. And it's important to have love in your life because it's the most important thing in your life. Really, love is the
Yes.
most important word. And you can take all the atomic bomb noises, but
Yes.
love is more important, and it's silent. So I must say it's made a very big difference to me in my life at the moment.
Yeah, and it's wonderful that I take it that both you and Susan play a bit of golf.
She loves golf. She loves the
Mm.
gym. She loves opera. She loves reading. She laughs a lot. She's highly intelligent. She has her own business. She's very rich. And I said to the other day, I said, now listen, Susan, I don't need your money. You don't need my money. But if you die before me, leave me some money.
It's nice to see you've got such a wonderful sense of humor, Gary. Gary, we were just chatting a bit earlier about President Trump, and I know that you've known him for over 30 years, played many, many rounds of golf with him. But what was very interesting, I was looking at X the other day, of course, and I see that President Trump follows you. But this is the interesting part that I really thought was amazing. 102.7 million who follow President Trump, and he follows a mere 53, mostly of whom are family or leading business personalities. And there I saw Mr. Gary Player.
Well, that's a very big honor, obviously, to have the President of the United States take an interest in you, and I play a lot of golf with him. And it was interesting, I played this 2 days ago, I played with President Trump, Senator Graham, and Senator Gowdy, and then also I'm not sure it's President or Prime Minister of Finland, not sure the title is correct, and who was a wonderful golfer, by the way, and a wonderful man. And we had such a terrific game. And then we came in, John, and of course, President Trump's golf club is inundated with members. They all come up to him. He has his special table. But, I've been around every president in America for the last 70 years.
That's right, he is.
And he and Bill Clinton, they both are so similar, completely different in political views. But they sit down and they talk to people. They sign autographs. Donald Trump takes pictures with all these children, all the ladies, all the members. He just doesn't come in there and then zoom out. He takes his time and he gives them a presidential pen or a hat. I mean, he's absolutely wonderful with people. I wouldn't like to be in his position, though. I mean, he was telling me that he only sleeps 3 hours a night. He's dealing with Putin. He's dealing with President Xi and all the problems that, can you imagine every day the pressures that man has? And he's he's obviously going to say things that are not right and some that are right. I mean, to make all the correct decisions. Winston Churchill was my all-time hero. And he said, I'm dealing with so many different subjects every day. And sometimes I put my foot in my mouth. And he says, but it doesn't perturb me. All I do is change my diet.
That's lovely. Tell me, Gary, did you help President Donald Trump with some of his stroke play, that sort of thing, when you played? I'm sure he would have been absolutely delighted and envious of you, maybe pointing out one or two things.
I do give him a few tips now and again, but he's an unbelievable golfer. He just won the club championship at the club against young guys too. So he's a wonderful golfer. Obviously, he'd like to have more time to play, but it's imperative that he does play to relieve him of all these worries that he has in his life. And, he's making many...
Back to the Masters, which current player do you think is best suited to win this year's Masters?
Rory McIlroy has the best golf swing in the world today. He has not been very good at Augusta, had chances to win, and he needs that to join the five of us to win the Grand Slam. I can't help but feel that he will win this year. There's a lot of pressure on him. I don't know what's inside of him. You see, John, the swing is not the thing. It's to become a champion it's called it. And that it is the mind. And that's somebody, it's indefinable. You cannot explain what the mind does and why certain people are gifted with it. And I put emphasis on the word, it is a gift. So I don't know what's inside of Tiger Woods, but you have a young man, Scotty Scheffler. He's playing beautiful golf. He'll be tough to beat. But it's a matter of the week if you have the great putter. Everybody talks about driving the ball a long way. That's an asset, but not a necessity. What is a necessity is to putt very well. You can't win big championships of the world unless you're a great putter. Not a good putter, a great putter. But now we're going into an era where the incentivization, and Lee Kuan Yew was one of my heroes of Singapore, and he said incentivization, which is important. That's why my farm was productive. with my staff. We employed 63 people, but we put them on incentives, which made our farm do so well. So I don't know which young guy is playing well at the moment, but it's going to be very exciting to see.
Yeah, indeed. You spoke about putters. I mean, who would have ever thought that a club would be banned?
Well, it's a pity they did ban it. I'm very happy they banned it for professional golf, but for amateur golf, they're the heart of the game, not the professionals, and so it hurt a lot of people's putting. But anyway, they say change is the price of survival.
Yep.
But there are a lot of things golf have got to do now. It's not right to have confrontation. Anytime you have confrontation in life, it's bad, which we can see happening in South Africa today. There's a lot of confrontation, and that's not good. So we got to get the live tour and the regular tour to try and get together. I don't know whether they will. It might have gone too far. But when you win a tournament today, you should be an asterisk opposite your name. When Rory McIlroy won the Players' Championship last week, there should be an asterisk without being repetitive. Because half the players are on live and half the good players are on the regular tour. So you haven't beaten the best in the world. When Palmer and Nicholas and myself won the world titles, we beat the best from all over the world. And it's not like that anymore, which is a shame. But anyway, let's hope it comes right.
Gary, how do you feel about the distance debate and changes in golf technology in general?
Well, we've got to remember that amateur golf and professional golf are two different games. Leave everything as it is for the amateurs, and they should make ladies' tees. And I hope people at golf clubs are listening to this. The ladies' tees, you've got to make them all a lot more forward, so these elderly ladies who are paying the same dues as the young people, and they are in the majority, give them a chance to play, move the tees forward. I think that's very, very important. For professional golf, you've got to cut the ball back 60 yards. There are no more par fives in golf. They're driving the par fours. And so the original concept of golf, a par five, a par four, and a par three, doesn't exist anymore. So I don't know where we're going. And now, with the incentivization that's being created and the enormous prize money that they're playing for, you find people, they're going into the gym, they're building their bodies, they're reading, they're improving their intelligence, they're eating properly, they're sleeping properly, they're preparing like a super athlete. And I don't know where we're going. I mean, they're going to drive, they will drive some par fives. Yesterday, DeChambeau, on a par five, he was playing with President Trump yesterday, and he hit the ball something like 430 yards. So I don't know where we're going. It's going to make a mockery of the game.
What's your take on the new generation of golfers?
Well, they're good. We haven't got any yet that are winning a lot of majors yet. We got a few that are winning majors, and but they have the opportunity. They're good. They've always been good. I think it was tougher to win tournaments when we played. You had Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus, Lee Trevino, Tom Watson, Hale Irwin, Raymond Floyd. I can go down the list. These guys were fierce competitors. These young guys are coming along now, and we still have to see who does turn out to have these qualities. And we will see it soon within the next 5 years.
How do you think mental toughness plays into success in the Masters, Gary?
Well, golf is a game that punishes you all the time. And one of the great things one's got to learn to do is to not feel sorry for yourself. But that applies in life. In fact, many of the laws on golf apply to life. You don't feel sorry for yourself. You've got to enjoy adversity, because adversity is the greatest gift bestowed upon man or woman. If you can overcome your adversity, you become a champion. Not necessarily a world champion or anything, but you can be a champion in life by being a good father. You can, etc., or a businessman, etc., etc. So all these things apply. You've got to have enormous patience. It shouldn't be called golf. It should be called patience. And it doesn't matter who you are. This game, you'll find it very difficult to master it, because it's a game of punishment, and you've got to learn to take the punishment, and hard work. This is the big thing in life. When I think of when I was a young man, very poor, struggling, When it rained, I went and practiced in the rain. When it was cold, I went out without a sweater. When it was hot, I put a sweater on because I knew I had to play in all those conditions. And I was in the bunker every morning at 6 o'clock, and I never left until I holed at least 3 or 4 of them. And I worked at the club for £30 a month for 3 years. All those things were very good for you and help you to become a champion. I don't know what it takes to become a champion. It's something that nobody will ever define. And people are very inclined to call people champions when they're not really champions. They win some tournaments and they call them great. No, there are only 15 great players that have ever lived in the game. In my humble opinion, you've got to win 6 majors to be an all-time great. A superstar.
What do you think? I mean, all those aspects that are fascinating in terms of the toughness that you've exuberated, but what would you say is the biggest lesson golf has taught you?
I would say to be able to accept adversity.
Yep.
And to keep humble. But there's a fine line between being humble and arrogant. I used to go to a golf tournament and the press would say to me, well, who do you think is going to win this week? And I said, well, I think I'm going to win. And the fact that I said that, they thought I was very arrogant. But what am I supposed to say? I'm coming here to play for second. I'm coming here because I don't want to win. So, there's a very, very fine line.
What advice would you give young golfers, Gary, hoping to one day play professionally?
Well, the odds of them making it are remote. I see probably 100 young guys a year that come to me for some advice, and they're all outstanding. But I tell them quite honestly, I say, if you make it, it's a miracle. There are probably 2 million young people in the world today. Golf has become so popular. It's the only sport that is play and stay. Every other sport is play and away. So now they realize they got a sport they can derive an income for the rest of their life. And so I tell them the odds of you making it, I doubt whether you can make it. I'm not saying you can't, because everybody said I couldn't. But the odds of you making it are against you, stacked up against you. And it's not, everybody says, oh, you should see this young boy at my club, hits the ball a mile, plays beautiful golf. That's irrelevant. There's a very big difference when you get in the arena. When you got in the arena boxing against Muhammad Ali, all week you were saying how you were going to beat him. All of a sudden, it's another story when you're actually in the ring with him.
Yeah, indeed. What's one moment in your career that you'd really love to relive?
Well, I played in the Masters golf-wise, and I had the opportunity of being the first man to win the Masters twice in a row. And we came to I had Arnold Palmer by 2 shots. I was 2 shots ahead with 3 holes to go. And the 16th hole, he held an 80-foot putt, and I was 10 foot from the hole. And the next hole, we tied, and then the last hole, he birdied, and we went in a playoff, and he beat me. But there was no way that he could do that again if you gave him 1,000 balls. But that's what happens. The unbelievable things happen in golf. And so it just teaches you another lesson in life. You're going to have good times and you're going to have bad times. And it happens to everybody. Nobody has everything. I mean, actually, golf, you asked me a question like a few minutes ago. I could actually, if I sat down with a piece of paper, I'd give you 50 things that I could answer that golf teaches you that very other lessons in life do. Let me just enlarge on what I was saying about golf being a game of play and stay. Take our rugby. Now, our rugby players have been the most wonderful, wonderful ambassadors around the world, not only winning, but showing the country what true Ubuntu means. When I was, but the rugby players, let me tell you this, by the time they get to 50, they will hardly be able to walk. And it's the same with boxers. Most of the boxers I meet, I just met Hitman Hearns the other day. He was the world champion. He can't talk.
Yep.
Muhammad Ali couldn't talk. I mean, these other sports, it doesn't matter what it is. When you get older, you're going to suffer like a junkyard dog. The arthritis comes in. But golf, Here I'm 90, still shooting par, having beaten my age over 3,000 times in a row, and I'm still going. So I'm in golf. I tell young people, play golf. It enables you to travel around the world. It enables you to meet the top businessmen. You can be involved in charities. You'll meet decent people. You'll meet a decent wife, in fact. I said, play golf. It's the all-round game. And I've been so fortunate. Can you imagine a poor boy from South Africa having met every president of America for 70 years, the royal family, and the villages of Africa and the villages of India? What an education. Far surpasses any university degree. I mean, it's living the dream.
Oh, love that, living the dream. And we all know that sport certainly unites a country, and that was something Madiba said post 95. You know, the unity is strength. It was incredible how we had that rainbow nation scenario, wasn't it, Gary?
Absolutely. And you think of our great father, Nelson Mandela. He was a man full of love. Now you find people saying, kill the farmer, do this, do that. He'd be turning in his grave if he heard those terrible slogans. I mean, why don't we learn from him? He united South Africa. He united us with the world. Why can't we learn from the best? I'll never understand that. When I started to play golf, I watched the best, who was Ben Hogan, and I watched him and watched him and watched him. I sat for hours watching him to just learn something. But anyway, Mandela, I can tell you, President Mandela is turning in his grave today, seeing the way we're going.
Gary, if I get back to all the experiences you've had in your life, what would you say is, of all the courses you've played all over the world, what has been your favorite course outside of Augusta?
Well, Pine Valley is rated #1 golf course in the world, and then to go to St Andrews in Scotland, the home of golf, that's where it all started. And the RNA at St Andrews very kindly made me an honorary member. And when you walk into that historic clubhouse, as you walk in there, you see 2 lockers, Gary Player and Jack Nicklaus, the first thing you see. What an honor bestowed upon me. And then to be made an honorary member of Pine Valley, the best in the world. So that's such a treat. And I think in my life, the older I get, you know, I never go to bed ever in my life, ever, without getting on my hands and knees, because a man is never so tall as when he's on his knees. And I just have a great sense of gratitude when I see what's going on in the world. Wars. And that's another thing that Donald Trump said to me. You know, Gary, I hate wars. We got to stop this war at all accounts. Children are being killed. Mothers, historic buildings, churches, hospitals. We've got to stop it. And when he first became president, he said to me, there will be no war during my administration. I said, no, sir, there will be. There's been a war under every president. Well, there wasn't a war under his presidency. Whether he can keep that going now with the situation that the world is in, I don't know. But I sincerely hope so, because I love children and I love people. And I hate to hear people talking about killing or death, because if it's your own family, that's when you have the appreciation for it.
Sure. Gary, if you had to put together your dream 4-ball, would it be fair to ask you who that would be?
Very simple. #1, Winston Churchill. I'd say Nelson Mandela in there, Mother Teresa, who gave her life for people, and I'd have to think very carefully after that. I think that I don't know who the 4th would be between I think Lee Kuan Yew, what he did in Singapore. They were annexed by the Japanese, and what he turned out to develop a country. In Singapore, this is the model we should be following. No drugs, no killing, no crime, a strong economy, having respect for everybody, giving everybody a place in the sun, highly educated. Singapore is probably at this moment the most perfectly run country in the world. It's really, I never understand politicians why they'll try and reinvent the wheel. All you've got to do is look at places that were successful. What did they do? And follow them. If you look what happened to Zimbabwe, one of the greatest countries in the world I ever visited, and look where they are, because they inherited and they had new ideas that didn't work, which is a shame. My heart bleeds for people in Zimbabwe today.
Yeah. You know, you've always been, as long as I've always known you and followed you and inspired to you, you've always been known for your optimism, but I'd like to know what it is about you that keeps you motivated every day.
Well, when you struggle like I did, and one of the things that I don't know if I admitted to tell you, I lay in bed when I was 10 after my mother died, and
Yeah.
brothers at war. Can you imagine your brother going to war at 17 and coming home to a home every night, nobody there, from King Edward VII School, hour and a half, and I lay in bed almost every week crying, wishing I was dead. That was the greatest gift I ever had. It taught me such a lesson in life. And so I'm optimistic all the time. I try to be optimistic, but at the same time, realistic. So to have the combination of those two is not easy. And that's why education is the light, John. Education is the light. The more educated you are, if you're an educated society, you become number one. If you're not, if you try and repeat the same mistakes that have been made in the past, you'll end up in the gutter.
Sure. Gary, in the lead up now to the Masters, what's the plan for you? Happening on the 10th, of course, a load of excitement. Only 3 South African golfers involved this year, as you know. It's Christo Lamprecht, Charles Schwartzel, Eric van Rooyen.
You think of South Africa, what an incredible nation we've been. The world champion rugby players, the world champion cricketers, athletes, swimmers, boxers. It doesn't matter what sport, what we've achieved, the first heart transplant. We have been a dynamic nation. And so I go up there and I'm just hoping that, a guy like Lamprecht, he's got so much talent. His course management is very poor at the moment, but he's a young man. And that'll come as he plays. His course management at Sun City was terrible. He just played in Mexico. His course management was terrible. He lost both those tournaments and should have won them. But that comes from experience. But so talented. And South Africa, let me tell you, have won 23 major championships. Major, that's one of the top 4 in the world. 23, more than any country in the world other than the United States. We could be so proud of our nation, of great people, of wonderful people. A lot of people have hatred in our country at the moment, but I'll tell you, a lot of people have love, which is fantastic.
Oh, I absolutely love that. Is there anything else maybe that you'd like to add? It's always so fascinating chatting to you every time we speak. Is there anything that I might have missed that you would like to maybe talk about, Gary?
Well, our country is at the crossroads right now. Our country is burning a little bit at the moment. And it's going to take great leadership to get us where we should be. And so I just pray that happens, because it's a remarkable country. As I said, I've traveled more miles than any human being ever. And you look at our beaches, you look at our game reserves, you look at our high schools. Unfortunately, we can't have everybody that's educated the way they are, but we have the best high schools in the world. We speak many languages, they're integrated, we have sporting facilities equivalent to Olympic standards. We're a remarkable country. We've got to get it right. We've got to have our leaders somehow. We've got to get it right. We can't survive on any hatred. There's too much hatred in politics, far too much hatred. And you don't survive when you've got hatred. You've got to have love in your heart and work. And it's going to take a lot of hard work to get us in the position that we are. We have an enormous debt, and our interest stops us from having economic growth. We are high in crime. All these things. 30% of our young people, the youth of a nation, are the trustees of posterity. We've got to get all these things right quickly. And it's going to take great leadership.
Gary, thank you so much for your time as always. And one of our, I got a call from someone wanting to hear about your horses. I know there's always been a passion for horses.
I have as much passion for horses as I have for golf, and I study every day. Of course, I try and study every day. I try and read every day to improve my knowledge. And my mind is as sharp at 90 as it was when I was 20. Because of
That's
reasons,
true.
I eat properly. And if I may give one secret again, and I'm going to say this again, if you want to live a long time, undereat. Don't overeat. Because when you carry weight, it's detrimental. So that's important. So I study the horse industry every day, the genetics, and I love it as much as I love golf. We got a horse called Double Grand Slam because I'm the only man who won the Grand Slam on both tours. And so we named the horse Double Grand Slam, and that's one of the best horses in the country. And so we're doing very well. We're getting a lot of winners. I'm trying to bring a lot of people from overseas into the business to invest money in South Africa. I've always tried to get people to invest money in South Africa. From when I was a young man, I brought a lot of people to invest money in South Africa and to visit South Africa. And I've been on television more than any South African ever, probably. Musk will surpass me, obviously. But up until now I have, and I've also appeared in front of more people than any South African, and it's been my honor.
Well, it certainly has been an honor to chat to you as well. Thank you very much, Gary, ahead of the Masters, and for sharing all other aspects that you share from the heart, and always emphasizing the word heart. And I just wish you everything the best going forward, and wish I could be with you there to witness this great event. And I just want to thank you very, very much for your time, to you and Susan, and to your beautiful family. Everything of the best moving forward, and thank you very much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure to chat to you. Thank you very much, Gary.
Well, thank you, John. I just want to emphasize that everything is just an opinion, and not to say that you're right, but also what we got to have in South Africa is when we have differences of opinion, don't be nasty about people. Accept that we all have an opinion. We're still lucky in South Africa. Freedom is on the wane in the world today. And freedom is this wonderful thing. We can stand up and we can speak. But when we do, don't criticize people. Try and look at it and say you might learn something else from another point of view. Have respect for people.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you so much, Gary.